Hi everyone, it's Tammy at Frou-frou Studio, and we are back today to do another episode of Wednesday Grunge Day. I hope everybody is doing good today. Today what I'm going to do is try to make some grungy butterflies. And what I have done is I have used the tattered butterfly die from Tim Holtz, and I have cut some butterflies out of just vellum. Like, it's a fairly thick vellum because it is the kind that you can put through your printer. So it's not, sorry, I'm trying to get some of these little die pieces out. It's not really thin, it's on the thicker side, and it's the one that is marked that it's suitable for jet prints or ink print printers. So I want to take these, and then I want to take some alcohol inks and put the alcohol inks on here and see what happens. I have not done this before. I've used my alcohol inks on Yeppo, of course, and on regular paper and on watercolor stock, but I've never used it on vellum. So this is going to be kind of an experiment to see if this works. Now, my theory is, like with anything else, when I put these alcohol inks on here, these butterflies are going to roll up. But that's okay, because I feel like that when they dry, they'll flatten back out. And even if they don't, I can put them under something, I think, and get them flat. But what I do want to do is make them grungy. Let me get my little bodies here and do those as well. And my thought is to, one, make them grungy, but two, make them, kind of translucent. Is that just one? That feels like two. Just to give them, more three-dimensional, I think that's just one, a three-dimensional look. I cut out two of each one, and we're going to see how these first two go before I do the other two. Alright, so, tools. I'm using a piece of just laminate sheet on my glass mat so I don't get the alcohol ink all over my glass mat. And once I get them all inked, I can pick this whole thing up and set it to the side so it can dry. Because I'm going to be using alcohol blending solution, and you don't want to get this in the air if you can help it. So you don't want to put a heat gun or anything like that on it. You can also use alcohol to do this, but you want to make sure that if you use alcohol, you're using like a 99% alcohol. Anything less, and it won't move as pretty or, make as nice design as you would want for using the 99%. And then I just grabbed a lot of my alcohol inks that are kind of grungy looking. And I'll tell you what colors that I'm using as we use it. And then I have one of the alloys. Let me shake it up here. You want to make sure that it's has a good shake so that all the metal is not at the bottom. And the one I chose is Mind. And then I also have the pearl. And I thought we could try that. So we're just going to see what happens. Alright, so I'm going to start with a darker color, mushroom. And I'm just going to put a couple drops on here. And then let's use some sepia. And maybe some sienna. It has more of an orange look to it. You can see we're already getting some of that curling. That is what I expected, but that's okay. I don't mind it. Just going to move it around a little bit. Put a little bit of the blending solution on there. If I can get it open. Oh my goodness. Should have tried that before I started. Get a rag and see if I can get it open. I guess I closed it a little too, there we go, a little too tightly. Put some of this on there. And then I'm going to take my blending tool, which has the felt on it, not the pad, but the felt, and I'm just going to kind of move this around a little bit. And if you do not want to get this on your fingers, you know, wear gloves. Because it is a little bit harder to get off than regular inks. I've also got my tweezers here that I can use. Okay, so there gives us a pretty dark background. Now let's brighten it up a little bit. I'm going to use some of the sunset orange. And butterscotch. Let's dab that. Move it out of my wet spot here. Now, alcohol inks dry fairly quickly. I really like those two dark spots. Oh, that may be just where it's underneath. I've got a rag here. Let's pick this up. Maybe. And it is staying quite a bit flatter than I thought it would. See, you can see most of that is dry already. Okay, this is espresso. Let's see if I can get some darker around the edges here. maybe down the body. Okay, now let's see if we can do some mind on here. See if I can get this shook up. Okay, and I'm going to take a little bit of the blending solution. And kind of move that around. And just kind of rotate it around, because what's going to happen is the mind is made to grab onto edges. And so you can see, and I'll lift it up so you can hopefully see, it has grabbed all of the edges of the butterfly and put like a metallic tint around the edges. And you can see as it's drying, it's flattened back out, which is nice. Now, I still want something. I'm going to try this orange again because I want something in some spots that's just a little brighter. So, and I may have to grab a different color in order to make that happen. Maybe a brighter yellow. I want it to be grungy, but I don't want it to, you know, just look like a brown butterfly. I guess that's what my point is. And let's try to put, I've got some, this is Stream, and it's a blue. I'm going to try to put some blue just on, just a dot. a dot here. And then I'm going to do the same thing down at the bottom, and I'm going to tilt it up so that it doesn't travel into the middle part. Ooh, see, I got it in there. Okay. So if you take your blending solution again, it'll take some of that out of there. Let that dry a little bit, and we'll put some of that brown back in. It's just a matter of experimenting, guys, and going back and forth with your colors until you get what you want. Let's try latte. This is latte. Okay, now I'm going to take my little body here, and I'm going to do espresso and just make my little body really dark. And I'll have to go figure out where the other one went. I may never be able to pick that up. So then when we put it together, if I can get it on there. It'll look kind of like that. And that almost looks like a piece of jewelry, doesn't it? All right, so now let me mop some of this up so we can do the other one. The bigger one. And I think I'm going to grab a yellow, brighter yellow. Let me see what I have. We'll try dandelion. All right, so let's start with our dark base. Let's use espresso. Okay, so let's try sienna. Now, if you like the dots like that, just let it go where it's going to go and leave the dots. That's also a really cool effect. We'll do that on this one so you can see the difference between using the blending tool and just doing dots. Do a little bit of the sunset orange. And let's try the mushroom on the outer edges. Okay, on this one, I'm going to use the pearl additive. And the pearl is exactly what it sounds like. It's going to give it a pearly effect. If I can get it shaken up. I haven't used these in forever. Let's see if I got that. Yeah. Okay. I like that one just like that. So we'll move that one up and let that one dry. Now I could try to put another little bitty dot, but it is so hard to get little bitty dots with alcohol ink. Let's try and Okay. So there is that one. Now let's try another one. Maybe for this one we will do, what colors should we do? I've got tons of colors. Maybe I don't know. Maybe a bluer blue? I don't know what kind of bluer blue I have. Okay, I've got turquoise, sailboat blue, and pool. So let's see what we can do for that. Again, we're going to start with a deeper base, but I'm going to try sepia this time, I think. And I like patting out the first layer so that everything's covered, just so you have a good base coat on everything. Okay, let's try sailboat. That's a pretty color, isn't it? And this is pool. And this is turquoise. I don't know if it's going to be much different. A little bit, not a lot. I'm going to pat this out here where it's a little thicker, because I can always go back. It's kind of turning green in some spots, but that's okay. Got some good grunge there, huh? Alright, so let's try to put some darker dots and some darker edges. Wait for it to flatten back out a little bit so they don't run everywhere. There is a black. Maybe put some black edges. The black seems much thicker. It could be just because I've had it forever. And I would put some black in the middle, but I'm afraid it's probably going to run out. It's actually pretty cool looking. Alright, I'm trying to stay in screen here, but I keep trying to move it out of the... I'm going to use some more of the sailboat blue. I really like that blue. It's really bright. Oh, I can't pick it up. Anytime that you think you've got a color where you don't want it or it's too thick, just use some of your blending solution and just kind of squirt it on there and then move your inks around. I'm not real good with the tweezers, if you haven't been able to tell. I know that this is not showing up as well on camera, but that is really cool looking. Okay, now I'm going to use some more of the pearl. right, now what do we want to do? If I use a yellow, it's going to be green. See what happens if I put just a couple of dots of orange. Okay, I'm happy with that one. All right, we got one more. And then I'll put them on something that you can, they'll actually show up and you can see them. All right, so we got one more of the smaller ones. And let's go really yellow with this one. I'm gonna start with a butterscotch base on this one. Ooh, my thing is kind of turning everything green. Okay, let's try that again. See if we can get most of that off. Not off, but all right. Okay, now let's use that really bright yellow. You can see every time I open my tweezers, it makes little splatters, which is kind of cool actually, but it's also very messy. Oh, look. I don't know how I did that. Leave it to me, though. Alright, now I'm going to do some orange. And now I'm going to wait a second for that to flatten out a little bit because I want to use a darker brown out here, and I don't want it to run into my other parts. Actually, we could use the mind. If I can find it. There it is. And it would run just to the edges. It's probably going to take all my other color away. Okay. I'm going to put a little bit of the yellow back in, and then we'll be done with this one. Okay. Now, let me get a sheet of paper here. And I will save that and use that for some kind of project, because I can always reactivate that ink with some alcohol or with some blending solution and manipulate it around to make, you know, interesting collage folder or something out of that. And I will cut bodies for all of those and make them dark like we did on the first one. Okay, I'm going to move that to the side so I'm not wearing it. Okay, so here's what we have. And my thought is that once I get the bodies on, like I did this one, and it's not glued on, obviously, it's just sitting there, that I would, and actually, I'm going to do it, I think, before I put the bodies on. I'm going to put some, splatters with some gesso on here. Once they dry, of course. And then I'll put the bodies on, because I don't care if the bodies have splatters. But yeah, so there we go. And you can also, once these get dry, you know, if you wanted to take like a marker or something and add some lines or dots or whatever, to refine them, you could do that. You can ink them up with your Distress Oxides. You can do splatters like I'm going to do. And, you know, I think they're just really cool. And I think that turned out really well on the vellum. I don't know how transparent they are. Oh, they look really cool on this side too. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, they're not transparent, but they definitely have a cool look to them and look double-sided. So that's the back side. How would you use them? I don't know. I think you could put them on tags. I think you could make altered paper clips out of them, which would be kind of cool because they are double-sided. Yeah. Let's check this one out. It's the most wet still, obviously. Not very interesting on this one's not very interesting, so I'm gonna have to do some work with inks or something on that one. Stamps, you could stamp them. That one looks pretty cool. Yeah, that one looks pretty cool too. So yeah, overall I'm pleased. But yeah, if you did now went back and did like a number stamp or a script stamp on that one that's kind of plain, I think that would be cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, and wear gloves because it is very messy. Of course, you probably can do it without being as messy as me. But, yeah, if you have alcohol inks, try that. Like, and some of you probably already have. It's probably nothing new to you, but I had never used it on vellum before, so I wanted to try it. But yeah, I like it. So that's it for this episode, guys, and I will see you guys back tomorrow for I Saw It on Pinterest. Until then, everybody have a great evening. Bye. Just get them away from your house to keep safe. The long-range model is showing the better potential. We'll continue to monitor these rain showers again.